Today, I want to take a moment to break down work order profitability structure. So this is how we break down and ultimately get to the sell price of any jobs in any of our service-based companies. And so this is plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and auto repair that we're talking about today. And my name is James. I've been a professional business consultant all across the country for about 10 years now, small business owner for about 20, multi-business owner for close to almost 10 years now. And my wife, Nicole, is a CPA. She's incredible. And we work together to help companies that are either struggling or just need new life. And we help them grow in a very sustainable and ethical way by giving them resources and training and in a lot of cases, accountability. And so what this is here, right, this 100 in this case will indicate total sale, right? And so we could say, just to break the math down a little bit easier, we could say this is $100 too, all right? So we sell something, we sell a widget for $100, right? The first 20% is going to go to direct labor. And so that means the technician that was doing the job, the technician that was doing the work gets 20% before anybody gets anything. They are the first money out because if we don't pay them, we got real problems, right? And this 20% is also loaded, by the way. So you have to make sure that you add the juice in there. So you've got your state, your federal, Social Security, and so on, all wrapped right in there, which typically we're in Mass and Connecticut mainly. It's about 25%. So in this case, if this was $20, it would be about $25, just in theory. And so the next 20% is going to go for your part or your material cost, right? So whatever you're putting on the vehicle or in someone's home, there is a cost associated with that, and 20% of the bill is the sell price. Now, this isn't like a hard and fast rule. What is a hard and fast rule is that you can't spend more than 40%, right? Or it can't be more than 40% for the direct labor and the material cost, because right here, this is your gross profit, right? My handwriting is terrible. I promise I'm better with businesses and writing things. So this is your gross profit, right? You can't touch this. This money is already pre-spent. Now, we go here, right? FOH, that's front of house. So this is your sales staff. This is the people answering the phone. This is your service advisors, your counter help, right? Again, loaded, 10% for front of the house. 30%, we allocate 30% for overhead. And so this is your electric bill, your gas bill, your insurance, your rent, your mortgage, whatever your vehicles, all right? This is your overhead, 30%. Marketing, we spend about 10% of our, projected gross, right? So we've gotten pretty good at marketing through the years to where we don't necessarily have to spend 10% of what we're doing. We look at where our target is and we spend 10% of our target. And so if we wanted to do 2 million this year, we're going to spend 200,000 minimum on marketing. We wanted to do 1 million, and we're going to spend $100,000 on marketing, and so on. And so when we get a business and we know that we want to move the needle, we put a lot of this stuff in place, but ultimately an effective marketing plan that is managed correctly, if you ramp that up and you have the infrastructure here that can handle that, then you ultimately you're going to grow this number here, right? But we rule of thumb, we try to stay right around that 10%. And some people will say that's high, and that's fine. Don't spend it. I don't care, right? We spend that because we know that people aren't necessarily looking for our service today. They're looking for it tomorrow. And this 10% is the cost to advertise 365 days a year, period, right? We are everywhere. In all of our businesses, we advertise everywhere all of the time because we have found that that is a recipe for success. And that costs us 10%. The 10% down here at the bottom, this is profit, right? This is not a guaranteed number. None of this is guaranteed down here, right? Unless we do a lot of other things and we manage it properly. And so this 10% in profit, this goes back into the company. In a lot, not all of it, but in most cases, it goes back into the company to invest in the infrastructure, equipment, try to recruit more people, which is kind of a blended cost in marketing. Or at the end of the day, we want to put some profit aside so that we've got a little bit of money for a rainy day, because the one thing about business is that there's always going to be a rainy day. I don't care who you are, where you are, what you're doing, there's always going to be a rainy day. You're always going to end up tight in cash flow at some point in time. So when we find that these numbers aren't managed properly, these are kind of some of the main things that we see detract and also add to this, right? So detractors, quality. If you're not putting out a good product, you're going to be redoing your product a lot, and that could be a real problem. So if you're going out, you're being recalled out to jobs, you're having comebacks, auto repair jobs come back to your shop, you're redoing them a couple times. This is going to take away from that number for sure. CSI, if people aren't happy with you, right? If you're doing a bad job, if you're not doing good quality and you've got rude staff, or even if you're just not doing a good job and not honoring your warranty, your CSI is going to drop. And so if this drops, this makes this number a little tricky, right? So when we talk about managing this number effectively, these two things have to be there. We have to provide the best job and we have to provide the best service. If we can't, we got real problems, because then this here is going to end up at like 15, 18% because we're going to be fighting this attrition here, right? We're constantly losing people because we don't know how to do our job or we're rude, right? So we want referrals. We need referrals and we need repeat customers because we can't grow without either one of those. The next thing that we find regularly that's a problem is people walking back and forth. Now, this doesn't mean that you are necessarily walking back, all the way across the building, back to the other side of the building for a supply all the time. I mean, maybe it does. If it does, I think, a logical move would be to move the supplies closer, halfway, or have 2 stations for it or something like that. But this means things that you're doing over and over, right? Walking back and forth means you're doing it over and over, and you're not getting anywhere, right? So this could be you have a terrible onboarding program, right? You're hiring people, you're wondering why you're not getting the result that you want out of them because you're not training them properly, you're not giving them the resources that they need, and so they're constantly washing out on you. You're constantly chasing customers and you're constantly overspending on marketing. Whatever you're doing, you're constantly repeating the same task, which is never going to get you forward progress. It's like walking on a treadmill, except with your money. Then we want resource allocation, right? Resource allocation basically means that we're putting the proper people in the proper places all the time, right? So if we're baseball coaches, we wouldn't take a pitcher and put him on first base. He's probably not going to be great there, right? We're not going to take David Ortiz and we're not going to put him at shortstop, just not where he's supposed to be. The guy's a slugger, right? So we want to make sure that as business owners that we're always putting the right people in the right places. That's our job, is to ultimately bring out the best in them. And so proponents of this, things that make it better, right? It's the antithesis of this, right? Resource allocation. If we allocate resources properly, then we're going to be in pretty darn good shape, right? That means that we're putting the right people on the right jobs. I'm not going to, if I own an auto repair shop, which is, my background initially, if I own an auto repair shop, I'm not going to take a guy that is good at figuring out electrical diagnosis problems and start giving him oil changes. It's just not the best use of his time, and conversely, right? I'm not going to give a guy that is only qualified to do oil changes, been working on cars for 6 months, I'm not going to give him some intricate electrical diagnosis where he's got to rip the whole interior out of the car and then test wires, because he has no idea how to even rip the interior out of the car without destroying everything, right? So if we allocate resources properly, then we're going to be in pretty good shape. Quality, right? Quality equals return customers. If people are happy with what you do and you treat them well, they will come back, right? We kind of trick this and we make sure that they come back by obviously, marketing to them after they left. We, in our world, we call it customer retention marketing, customer relationship management, right? Whatever your CRM program is, to get them to come back in an automated way. We want to make sure that they know that we care about them. We create programs, we create incentives, things that are special to them. One of the things I never liked in business was when I would have a cell phone, right? And every new person that gets a cell phone gets a brand new iPhone and they get like a $500 bill credit or something. But I've been with Verizon for like 20 something years. I've paid my bill on time all the time. They never give me anything, right? So we didn't want it to be like that. We want to reward the customers that are with us because we know that there's only really a couple ways that we can ultimately grow this thing. And one way is to make sure that we have customers that are continuing to come back while we're adding new customers so that we're not just fighting that battle. And CSI obviously helps with that too, because we're going to get a lot of referrals, right? So our customers are going to keep coming back to us. They're going to tell other people and, we'll have full bays. And, that allows us to reallocate some of this money into places that'll continue to allow us to acquire new customers. And then time management, right? We don't want to be walking back and forth over and over and over. So this was a somewhat quick explanation of this. If you need more detail, dude, I'm happy to share it with you, right? You can reach out to us. You can either DM us or you can reach out to us and schedule a call with us on our website. It's lotuspe.us. Again, my name is James. I'm the president of Lotus Consulting, And I'm happy to talk to you anytime you need your help. All right.